So, I know I'm a little late, but I recently saw the Superman movie, which is the new installment of the new DCEU universe, and I just have to say, it was absolutely brilliant. I literally did not have one complaint about this movie. I was happy about it every second it was on the screen. And so, like a lot of YouTubers are doing, this video is basically just going to be me giving my 2 cents on it and why I thought it was so good. I'm not going to be going over the whole story because I really do think you should go watch it for yourself. I mean, that's how good it was. I think everybody needs to see this movie. But with all the preamble out of the way, let's talk about this thing. So one of the first things I really liked were the improvements that this movie made over the Snyderverse Superman. You see, Zack Snyder, as most of you probably know, really liked to paint Superman as this sort of cold, unfeeling, like, god that was sort of transcendent of humanity. And I think that was one of the biggest gripes people had with Zack Snyder's Superman, myself included, by the way. Because at his core, the idea of Superman is not just that he's the strongest hero on the planet. It's also that he's the most compassionate, the most caring, the most loving, the most kind. And none of that is lost on James Gunn at all. He portrays Superman brilliantly, and David Corenswet brings it to life in an amazing way. We don't see a single casualty happen under Superman's watch. He saves a squirrel, for Christ's sake. He literally actively defies the United States government in the interest of saving people. I mean, he is literally only concerned with doing good. It's beautiful. And I also feel like James Gunn just generally captures his essence a lot better. I mean, his whole attitude is so down pat for Superman. He's lively, he's jovial, he's friendly, he makes wisecracks, he doesn't take things too seriously. He's kind of corny, but like corny in the best, most Superman-esque way possible. It's brilliant. So yeah, I love that this movie finally actually does Superman's character justice because it's been a while since we've seen it on the big screen like this. I also thought this movie was extremely well cast. Like, I don't think anyone could have done it better than this. It was one of those times where I really did not feel that there was a single miss. Obviously, David Corenswet as Superman was awesome. I think he's going to be the best Superman we've ever had by the time he's done playing the character, for sure. Rachel Brosnahan as Lois Lane was an excellent choice. She was a very proven actor, and I honestly don't think they could have gotten anybody better for that role. Nicholas Hoult absolutely killed it as Lex Luthor. I think he's the best Lex Luthor we've ever seen on screen. Like, even the supporting characters were so well cast. Like, I love Nathan Fillion as Guy Gardner. I want to see him come back in that role so many more times. Edie Gathegi as Mr. Terrific was honestly one of the MVPs of this movie for me. I thought he was absolutely brilliant, and I loved Mr. Terrific. Isabella Merced as Hawkgirl was pretty good. Anthony Carrigan as Metamorpho was awesome. I mean, it was just perfect all around. I'm not even getting into mentioning how they got Bradley frickin' Cooper to play Jor-El. I mean, whoever casted this thing deserves a raise for sure. And while we're on the topic of the characters, I mean, I just want to talk about how strong the supporting characters were in this movie because I thought this is one of the best supporting casts I've ever seen for a movie. Everybody at the Daily Planet was awesome to me. Obviously, the MVP there was Jimmy Olsen, and I feel like it's always kind of a funny gag how every girl was lined up down the block for him. I thought that was pretty funny. Everybody in the Justice Gang is awesome. I mean, I absolutely love Mr. Terrific. That fight scene was incredible. Guy Gardner's hilarious, and he was one of my least favorite Green Lanterns before this thing, so I didn't think I would like him, but I like him a lot more now. I think Hawkgirl's a pretty interesting character. I definitely want to see her come back and see how she interacts with Hawkman whenever they decide to cast him. And one of my most favorite underrated characters of this movie was Metamorpho. I loved him in this. He has a very interesting story to me and really cool powers that I like a lot. And even though we only got a few seconds of it, I really like his dynamic with Guy Gardner. I'm gonna be really excited to see that going forward. I really like the villains in this movie too. I mean, I already expressed how much I like Nicholas Hoult as Lex Luthor. I think he's the best Lex Luthor we've ever seen, and I'll say that a million times. I thought the twist of Ultraman being a Superman clone was a little predictable, admittedly, but I thought it was still kind of cool, and I kind of liked how they did it. I thought the Engineer was a little underdeveloped of a character, but I mean, considering that it's a comic book movie and not every henchman and goon gets their own backstory, that, you know, it makes sense. Another character I really liked, who I actually didn't know was a comic book character, but ended up coming in pretty clutch, was Eve Tessmacher. Towards the first half of the movie, we're sort of led to believe that she's just kind of like a, you know, stereotypical dumb Hollywood blonde, oblivious, ignorant to everything Lex is doing. But towards the end of the movie, she provides Jimmy with very valuable information about Lex in a discreet way, which shows that she's actually secretly pretty smart. I always love characters that are sort of like subversions of your expectations, and I also kind of like her dynamic with Jimmy. Like, if nothing else, it's funny. So yeah, this cast of characters was absolutely generational. I mean, it was just brilliant. Now, having a good cast of characters is one thing, but having good themes is another, and man, does this movie have them. The first thing I need to talk about here, obviously, I mean, you really can't make a Superman movie without mentioning this, but it was the very obvious political overtones, which I love. A lot of absolute troglodytes will argue vehemently that, oh, we need to keep politics out of movies, da-da-da-da-da. Which, by the way, people who say we need to keep politics out of X thing always annoy me. Like, to me, that always just kind of reads like, oh, me like fun entertainment, me no like big word. You mix fun entertainment with big word, me no like. But personal tangents aside, I loved how this movie basically tackled the Israel versus Palestine issue while not doing it directly, but still being very on the nose. Superman is fundamentally a symbol of freedom and Superman hope. Which is exactly why in a political climate like the one we have, in which so many people, including celebrities whose voices are the loudest, are ignorant to things like the genocide in Gaza, or even just sweeping it under the rug like so many people do, Superman's character is as relevant as it's ever been. I personally love this movie for taking its stance and making its message known. It is precisely the kind of thing that the world needs at this time. Now, politics aside, I love the way in which this movie decides to tackle free will and choosing to do good. When Lex Luthor and his crew uncover the message that Superman's parents left him with before Krypton exploded, it reveals something very dark. It reveals that Superman's parents did not send him to Earth to protect it and be their savior. Rather, he was sent to Earth to conquer it and rule it with an iron fist, seeing humans as an inferior species, sort of like what Goku was meant to do in Dragon Ball. Superman is obviously distraught by this revelation, and the public is furious at him. Even Guy Gardner questions him. The public now sees Superman as a galactic tyrannical overlord who only means to conquer them, not to save them, despite the fact that he's done nothing but help them. He heads to the Kent family farm to cool down, and while he's there, Pa Kent gives him an absolutely incredible speech. He basically tells him that even though he was born to a bunch of cold, unfeeling aliens who saw humans as inferior, Superman does not think that way, and that is not who he is. He basically tells Clark that he doesn't have to follow that destiny, and that it really doesn't mean anything because his choices are what's made Clark the man he is. I understand it's kind of a cheesy message that's been reiterated in a lot of different movies, but I feel like in the context of Superman and the way in which he's been portrayed for the past few years, this is exactly the kind of scene we needed to have, and I thought it was just incredible. Like, for me, the themes of this movie were 100% dead on. Like, this is what Superman is. This is what Superman should represent. Now, obviously, in my opinion, this movie was basically perfect. I mean, 5 out of 5, perfect. Nothing wrong there. But I think just as exciting as reintroducing the character of Superman with maybe the best on-screen portrayal we've seen yet, I think this movie also signals the official return of the DCEU, and I think this will finally be when we see it have the big stride that Marvel had with the MCU. With Creature Commandos coming out recently, which was awesome, Peacemaker Season 2 coming out soon, and even a lot of the world building that comes out in this movie was really good. The Justice Gang was really cool, and I'm sure we'll see a lot more of them in the future. Millie Alcock was confirmed to have been cast as Supergirl in this movie, and she'll be starring in her own soon, which I think will actually probably be pretty good. I know the Gooners are gonna enjoy it, but I also like how this movie didn't introduce too many characters too fast like they did last time. Characters like Batman, Wonder Woman, Flash, Cyborg, Aquaman still haven't been cast yet, and I'm sure they're gonna do an absolutely incredible job. So yeah, this is a really interesting and exciting time to be a DCEU fan. I'm sure it's gonna be great. Let me know what you guys thought of this movie in the comments, and just remember, if you didn't like it, you're a hate monkey.